Oh. Other people who are open to bidding can come in and look. But that's just me.
Are you doing this tonight or is this
Tonight. I've added it to our, because I didn't think that you guys would want to wait as quickly as we can move forward with it. Wow. Mm-hmm. Oh, you got another minute. Okay, you ready? Debbie, are you ready? Debbie, are you ready? Okay. We will go ahead and call the, I forgot the date, August 24th. Is that today's date? August 24th, 2022, Commissioners meeting to order. If you would all stand for the pledge and a prayer.
Heavenly Father, we ask you to watch over our county and our nation. We ask that all business conducted tonight would be in accordance with your will. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
So I don't have this on the itinerary, but the first thing I want to say is congratulations to the Hagerstown Little League baseball team. For going as far as they did. So congratulations to them. They made Hagerstown, Henry County, and the state of Indiana very proud. So congratulations to them. Have no reason to not hold your heads up and be proud. With that said, have the commissioners had the opportunity to review the minutes from the last meetings?
Make a motion to accept as presented.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. We'll move on to claims. Have everybody had the opportunity to review the claims?
Make a motion to accept the claims as presented.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Payroll. Has everybody had the opportunity to review payroll?
Make a motion to accept payroll as presented.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. So our monthly reports, we have the weights and measures report, the clerk report, and the monthly treasurer's report. Do I have a motion to accept these reports as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. So we have a food and beverage claim. This is for the county's match for the Okra grant, which is the owner-occupied grant. It is in the amount of $10,778. Do I have a motion to accept and pay this claim?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. Corey's not here. I will leave an update that he has back when we get farther down. Shonda is not here. You want to be the Frost of Frost and Barrett? Okay.
Am I on the mic?
Yes, you are.
All right, there you go. A few things that are left that are coming up. Our library talk is September 8th. This one is about Catherine Winters. We have an expert coming who's written a book about her, and we're also going to have a little information on the movie that's coming out about her later in the year. So that's September 8th at the library at 6 o'clock. It's about an hour, so it's fun just to listen and get a little bit of history. September 24th is our golf tournament. We've combined with the Fieldhouse golf tournament that Sam Alford puts together. We're working with him. We have, the field is full, but we're looking for sponsors for holes, and that's what we're going to be working on the next few weeks, getting sponsors for the Fieldhouse and the 529 program is where the money will go. And then on October 1st is what we've decided to coordinate with the cruise in, hopefully, to do the burial or the new
Time capsule?
time capsule into the safe.
Okay, so you are going to use the safe. Okay.
Yeah, that's the idea now. For
That's
sure,
the
we're going to use
idea.
the safe. So that's the things that are coming up in the next couple months.
Okay. Thank you. Before you leave, if you want, or I can get them to Aaron, I have the documents that we signed, the granting of deed of all the stuff that the commissioners are putting in. You
Okay.
or Aaron, either one?
I can take it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I have them in the office.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, thank you. Josh, you are up, and this is in tab number 7. This is in tab number 7.
Okay, I'm here tonight. Something pretty simple, just to talk about the 2023 group Medicare Advantage renewal, so our retirees that are eligible for Medicare, this was probably 7-8 years ago. It's maybe been longer than that. We moved to a group Medicare Advantage plan. I think at the time we saved probably $500,000, and that gap would be significantly wider today because the group Medicare plan cost has basically not changed much at all in that entire time period. Last year's rate was $378 a month per retiree. The 2023 rate went to $388, so it's a $10 increase. There was even 3 or 4 years there where we had COVID credits, and it was even less than that, but it's pretty much stayed the same the whole time. The benefits are identical. It is with Humana. They're the huge player in Medicare Advantage, both individual and group. The only other real probably in Indiana carrier that would consider it would be Anthem. I talk to them periodically. I checked with them a couple months ago, and my rep said, I can't remember the last time we wrote a Medicare Advantage plan. Humana is the major player. As far as I know, check in with AM periodically. I think people love this plan when they transition. They pay basically nothing for almost everything but drugs and office visits. So for $380 a month, it's really, really good. So the way these work, sort of like the regular Medicare Advantage, the open enrollment for 2023 is happening now or getting ready to start. So I think you have there's just a signature to execute and keep everything the same. And that's it. That's
All right.
all I'm here for this evening.
Okay. Do I have a motion to keep this Humana plan as is?
Make a motion to accept this plan as presented.
Did you want me to scare Josh and tell him no?
He's not scared.
Second.
Motion by Ed Tarantino, second by Steve Dellinger. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. 3-0. Do you want me to go ahead and sign it and give it to you, or just?
It's up to you.
Do you have the original? If not, I can get it signed.
I was going to say electronic copy's fine, so it's.
Will you email me a copy of this?
I can, when I scan it, I can.
Just so we'll have a copy.
Thank you, Josh. Okay, department head updates. Angela.
I just wanted to report back on our first annual mental health fair that was held on July 21st. And that was kind of a kickoff for our Live Coalition that we had slowly moving in progress before COVID shut everything down. And it was a fabulous evening at First Baptist Church. It was a great venue. We had over 35 vendors from either Henry County or the surrounding counties. We had all the major hospital players there, so I was very pleased to see them. Reed, Rush, Henry Community, and IU Health were there. We had over 200 people come through that night. Wow. So if it is a testament that the community is interested in mental health and substance use disorder, and I think the time is approaching that we are going to be able to do some really good things about that. So with that said, we followed up with our first Live Coalition meeting, which is what we dubbed our coalition in the infancy back before COVID, LIVE, Live. And so that was August the 9th. We held that out at REMC, and we had nearly 30 people in attendance that day. So everybody that had been at the table prior to COVID, when we were doing the big grant with Meridian Health, came back, and they came back in force, and they brought partners. And so by doing that mental health fair, we also have additional people now that are saying, okay, I see what you've got going on here. And then our next meeting, that's what I was trying to do, will be on September 22nd, which is the fourth Thursday. And so from here on after, we're going to try to keep them on the fourth Thursdays at noon. And that one definitely is at REMC, and hopefully we'll be able to continue that venue. Noon seems to be a good time, especially for business individuals. People that have doctor's offices seem to be able to get there. So if it comes and people want something of an evening, they can just let us know, and we'll try to hold something of an evening. But right now we're going to stick with noon. We talked about what a coalition was and how we needed to be able to move forward with this. And so we have an agenda kind of sketched out for our next meeting to talk about a mission statement, looking at putting a board together, and we have people that are looking about the information about a 501c3, and we've made some contact with the state drug-free coalition organization. And so they have people out there, as well as a national drug-free community program, who are willing to assist us in getting things solidified and established, with our end goal this year being to apply for the CDC's drug-free community grant next spring. So that's that. Question?
Do you have the other?
I saw you had it down on new business, and it can wait.
We'll just go ahead and have you do it now,
Okay.
since you're up here.
Yeah.
Sure. Could you come up?
Oh, monkeypox vaccination, the way the state is rolling it out, because it is so limited, the state, if we have a case, then I can call and say, I need to provide vaccine to X amount of people. But other than that, the state is holding on to it, and I have to get it from them. But there are strike teams or different places. Wayne County just had one last week. So, but if somebody's interested, or if there's a true need, just have them call the office, and I'll find them a place to get that. Yeah.
Commissioner Dellinger has volunteered to be the first recipient of the monkeypox.
Well, he's too late. We've already given it. Sorry, Steve.
Okay, so the county smoking policy.
Oh, yes. I am simply asking that our Henry County Employee Handbook smoking policy, which consists of 3 sentences, be updated to include vaping inside a county-owned building or inside a county-owned vehicle. That's my
Sure.
simple request.
Yep. So right now, our current policy is smoking all buildings and vehicles occupied by any agency of the county or non-smoking areas, except for those areas specifically designated as smoking areas. This policy applies equally to all elected officials, department heads, employees, and visitors. No smoking signs are posted in the county facilities except where designated. And you are proposing that it read, all buildings and vehicles occupied by any agency of the county are non-smoking/non-vaping areas, except for those areas specifically designated as smoking vaping/vaping areas. This policy applies equally to all elected officials, department heads, employees, and visitors. No smoking, no vaping signs are posted in county facilities except where smoking vaping is designated. Unless otherwise stated, there will be no smoking/vaping at a distance no less than 25 feet from any entrance per county ordinance 2010-12-11-10. Okay.
Correct.
So do I have a motion to, I'm just going to say, we're probably going to have to talk to Joel and see what the process is to get this updated. Yeah, we'll have to have an ordinance done. So do I have a motion to move this on to Joel to create an ordinance to update?
I knew if it were a county-wide ordinance, but I didn't know if it had to, a notice because it was an internal policy. It's our employee handbook, and it's not going to apply.
Oh, that's right, to the county.
It's internal, and it's not
our
applying
employee
to
handbook
anywhere else
policy.
in the county. It's not changing our county ordinance.
How we've done it in the past is we've done it either as a resolution or an ordinance.
A resolution.
Amending the county
policy.
handbook policy.
The county handbook, okay,
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
fine. I
Yeah,
didn't.
that's how it's been done in the past. I don't know whether Joel will want to do it that way, but I know that's how
Okay,
it's been done.
that's how it's been done in the past.
Okay, I just wanted to be clear that it didn't have anything to do outside of work.
So do I have a motion to move this forward to Joel to determine the best way possible to update our personnel policy to include vaping in with the same as no smoking?
So moved. This seems logical to me that this would be included, especially with the side effects of vaping that we're finding now, that it just makes sense that this should be included.
It does seem logical, but apparently it wasn't logical to everybody.
I'll second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
So just to be clear, you'll send that to the attorney, and then what's the next step?
Whatever he brings back to us and how we need to update the policy, then it'll probably be at the next meeting.
At the next meeting?
I would guess probably at the next meeting.
Okay,
But I'll let you know. As soon as we get it back, we'll send it to you. So
Okay.
you can see it.
thank you.
Okay. Okay, so now we have quotes. Sorry, let me get back to where I was. So, Joe, actually, I guess I skipped and went all the way around everything. Joe, as department heads, Joe, here we go. Let's go. Sorry. 2 pieces of paper, trying to keep track.
Good evening. I've got 3 items this evening. One is old business that was approved at the last meeting. and that's to extend the price for pavement markings from last year to this year with accurate striping. And Joel has put together an agreement for signatures, and I wanted to hand that out, so.
Okay. Thank you.
You had approved it at the last meeting, so I just need the signatures. The representative, or the president, David Hobbs, with Accurate Striping, has already signed the agreement, so.
Yeah, so we approved this last month, so you just want signatures. Are these copies, or is one an original? Do you have an original, or these?
No, I just printed it out,
Okay.
what Joel sent me, that's fine.
Yeah, because we approved it last month. We'll sign a second one so that he'll have one and Debbie. Okay, yeah. He can have this one and Debbie will have a sign for her records. Oh, yes, you do.
Thank you. The next item is we've been looking for some equipment, particularly patch trucks. We were wanting to get two, but we're having difficulty getting them. Earlier in the year, we had a quote from a dealer in Indianapolis, and then by the time we got everything finished, approved, and back to him, Ford had stopped making that particular model year. So we were waiting on them to let us know what the price of the new one is, and we've not heard from them. So we took 2 steps back, and we have 3 trucks at the highway right now that the beds are gone. I mean, one has a hoist problem, and so what we want to do is to replace the beds on the older trucks, keep them in service, and use those instead. The total price for all 3 quotes, and let me get it here, is $31,342. I had originally put $120,000 in there for the 2 patch trucks in the budget. And we're spending the least amount of money on the older truck, and the newer truck we're spending a little more money on. So, do you need a copy of the?
No, I think you emailed them, and
Yes,
yeah,
I did.
we have the copy. So one is to replace the 10-foot American dump body, and then one for a second one, 2 10-foot, and then an 8-foot,
Yes.
and 2 8-foot, 2 10-foot, 2 8-foot. Is that right? Is that what I'm saying
double
correctly?
check. 2 10s and an 8.
Yeah, 2 10s and an 8.
Yes.
Okay.
The age, truck 28 is 2008 with 90,000 miles. Truck 23 is an 04 with 184,000 miles. And truck 27 is an 03 with 181,000. So,
Okay.
but something's better than nothing. So
Do I have
we
a
figure
motion?
this is the cheapest way out.
Sure. Do I have a motion to accept the total bid price of $31,342 to replace the dump bodies on these trucks? And I will say, when you sent the email and the subject said dump bodies,
And accessories, yeah.
Well, yeah, I just saw dump bodies.
We just
and I'm
didn't know
like-
what you were doing
what
at
you
the
were
highway
dumping.
department, that we were dumping bodies.
So do I have a motion to accept the quotes for $31,342 to replace the bodies on these dump trucks?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Then you have one
Thank you.
more.
Yeah, I got one more. We found, well, the city got complaints on Bridge 126, Garner Street Bridge, just east of State Road 3. So they took it upon themselves to go out and start hammering on a bridge deck over Big Blue River, okay? So they saw cut it first, all right, but it was, and they'd gotten complaints. Well, I understand that. So I went out to the bridge once I heard and found that we've got a real problem. The rebar on the top mat of the deck has deteriorated to a point, rusted, to a point where it's caused the top 2 inches of the deck to separate from the remainder of the deck. So we have an 8-inch deck with 2 inches gone, a quarter of it's gone. There's remaining 6 inches. That bridge will be inspected in July of next year, okay? Now, problem is, I foresee a load limit coming on that bridge because of that quarter of the deck is gone. So what I've done is there's a consulting firm, and it's SJCA, who has a resident expert on the subject. He has his doctorate, and he's written papers on this subject. So I went to him, and he says that he can, what we need to do is replace the deck. I agree. And when we're at it, we're going to replace the deck with a jointless bridge. The steel beams that are there, the ends of the steel beams have deteriorated to some degree. Not real bad. So we want to encase the ends of the steel beams with concrete when we pour the deck. So it's all one piece, okay? So to do that, and I want to go after community crossing matching grant funds to help pay for that. Now, the next question is, how are we going to pay for it? Bridge fund is very limited. All right, so I'm thinking we go to LOHUT funding. Since it's community crossing, we can use the LOHUT funds to use for this bridge, since we're going after that funding. Now, it will take away from a little road work, but we'll get 75% of the construction paid for, and with the hospital being where it's located, and this is an easy way and quick way to get to the hospital, I'm thinking we need to get moving and get this thing done as quickly as possible. The estimate right now, as far as timing, is to submit for community crossing matching grant funds in January of 2024, with approval hopefully in March or April. Quickly bid it. 24 is the soonest we can get to that point, okay? And then bid it just after we get approval, and then have it built before the end of the season, December 1st.
Of 2024.
So the possibility, now the state was doing that, they've got a 38 job going through town, and they were planning on bidding that in 24. And we had a meeting about it, and I attended and told them that we may be shutting down that bridge in 24. They wanted to do some closures themselves out here on the concrete pavement to repair it. And so they decided, I think they're going to move their project back, they talked about it, to 25, so that we're not in conflict with access to the hospital. So Do you have a copy of the proposal?
No, I don't think we have those. Oh, for SJCA, do I have it? Thank you.
This money won't be paid out all at one time. It'll be over a period of time, but I consider this a rather important project.
So would this
No.
take away from Lohut for this year? You said it will
Very very
impact a
little.
little bit of the paving and the road
Very little of it. Most of it will come out of next year's budget.
most of it will come out of next year's budget.
Now, the reason that the cost is higher than what you would expect, the cost is $155,100 to do it all right? Now, the problem is if you use community crossing matching grant funds, you have to follow the state requirements. You don't have a choice. These are not federal requirements, but they are state requirements. So we have to do a SEPA, which is an environmental study, waters report, permits with IDAM, permits with DNR. And the reason DNR is because we're in or near proximity to the city. That has to be done. You have to do an asbestos inspection, believe it or not. That is required with state. And we need to do utility coordination. I don't think that'll be too bad because we've got the high-pressure gas line right next to this bridge, big one. And they're in our right-of-way. I've made them aware of that, so.
So how, not that this matters, how old is this bridge?
Oh, 70, if I remember right, it was like 72 or 3, something like that. Yeah,
A day or two?
yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay. Questions?
This doesn't affect that. So we had a conversation about the gas line having to be moved at some point possibly, and we had that settled with Vectron. Is this all-
I'm not aware that they're going to move that gas line at this
Okay.
point, yeah.
That's not
This
gonna-
should not, we should stay clear of their line, so I don't foresee a problem there. If we need access to the underside of the bridge, we can go to the other side.
Ed, do you have any questions? Do I have a motion to accept this task order number 6, supplemental to the prime agreement in the amount of $155,110, assuming that we have it in Lohut?
So
Assuming
moved.
we have the money in Lohut?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got it.
Second.
Motion by Steve Downinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just a little update. They're still chip sealing. That 400 North got dust present today, and they're going to start chip sealing it tomorrow.
Okay.
So as soon as they can get the asphalt down and the aggregate down, it'll be done
Okay.
for triple seal.
Thank
okay?
you.
Any
That'll-
questions?
That'll make a lot of people happy out there.
Oh,
because-
I went down it.
Yeah,
It was, yeah, and we had a truck breakdown. I mean, you know, but we didn't, there was a lot of traffic going through there with that railroad down. There sure was. Okay. All right, thank you.
Steve, do you have anything? Thank you.
The map you got in front of you is a feasibility OSP route map for MetroNet for fiber. They contacted my office, and by the map, if you look at the north end of it, there is an existing telephone pole there that they're wanting to start at. The problem is they're not going down county right away for a utility permit. They're going down the existing access road there in front of Ivy Tech. That's county property. They claim that all the water lines and sewer lines and everything else are down that way in that area. It doesn't have an easement. I talked to Joe about it, and I talked to Joel Harvey about it. Joe agrees that it's in the right-of-way of the county's property for Ivy Tech. Once they get down to the end of it, if you'll look where the green space inside the right-of-way markers, they'll be out of our property line, and they'll be on to 3337 South Memorial Drive, which is the next property south. They're wanting permission to bore fiber in there. I don't think there'll be any problems because they do a good job, but they're going to need your permission to do this. Joel said that if you looked at this, and he needs to look at it and decide if they needed a written agreement or if they're just going to, he can okay it with the minutes, you know, putting it in the minutes what they're doing. So I brought it to you to look at. My thing is I think I'd take it up on the recommendation of the county attorney to look at it and figure out what they can do with it and let him do what they got to do so I can get it approved. They're ready to move on it and try to get this done because this business needs fiber down there.
I agree. I think that, yeah, that Joel, I don't think we need to make that into a motion. Just Joel can move forward with what you need to, whatever type of an agreement we need to do. I don't feel comfortable just having it's in the minutes type of.
Well, after he gets done with it,
Yeah.
I'd rather have it in there so that we're covered.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah,
but
after
we
he
have an
gets done with-
agreement, and
yes.
then it's in the minutes. It's both.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, I agree as well.
Yeah.
So, do you want us to make a form of a motion for you to move forward with Joel?
Yes.
Would you prefer that?
Please.
Okay.
Yep.
Do I have a motion for Steve Russ to move forward with County Attorney Joel Harvey in this feasibility OSP route for MetroNet?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Who do we have next? Tom's not here. Sheriff.
I'm requesting that Jay be allowed to purchase a different situation this time. Again, I want to keep Jay on a part-time basis. I'd like him to be able to purchase backup weapon for that.
So I have a letter from Sheriff Rick McCorkle, effective, dear Commissioners, effective August 26, 2022. Jay Davis will end his tour of duty as Major after having completed 37 years, 3 months of service. Jay has requested to purchase his duty gun upon retirement for $1. Do I have a motion to allow Major Jay Davis to purchase his backup weapon for $1?
So moved.
Second. Or do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries 3-0. I will say, congratulations, Major Davis, on your retirement, and thank you for 37 years and 3 months of service. You will be missed. Well, no, you're coming back part-time, never mind. Auditor's Office.
I have a contract, and Joel's looked at it with Schneider, who we do our online stuff with, to do training for my staff and also to upgrade all of our systems because we don't have all the upgrades on our computers that we need to continue on moving forward to do our splits and combines and all of our drawings.
Okay.
And Joel has looked at the contract and approved it.
Is he muted?
He's online.
Joel, you've reviewed this and you're okay with the contract?
Yes, I have looked at it. The form of the contract's fine with me.
Do I have a motion to accept it? What was the dollar figure, Debbie? What was the dollar figure? Or was there,
It is, hang on, $6,684.
do I have a motion to accept the Schneider contract for the auditor's office in the amount of $6,684?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 3-0. Jenny's not here. Memorial Park.
Unfortunately, our superintendent's not here tonight. The main business was the contract with the firm that's going to engineer our stuff.
Yep.
If you could get that signed, we would appreciate it.
That is in tab number 6, if you want to go to tab number 6. So we had Joel review this, and we have all read this. Joel, I'm assuming that you don't have any issues with this contract with FPBH for the...
No, it was fine with me.
Okay. I have read it. I know the other two have as well. Do I have a motion to accept the contract for FPBH for the Memorial Park utility planning?
So moved.
Second?
Motion made by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Is that it?
There's also a note on here about alcohol sales. We are still considering adding
Yep.
the use of alcohol
Yep.
in the buildings that are being rented.
I will get you the information that I have gathered from Josh Estel on certain requirements. And I know we'll get with Joel as well, because there's been some, just a little bit of conversation back and forth. So we'll send you all that information that I have gotten.
Well, we're obviously trying to bring ourselves in line with other facilities in the area.
But there's just certain requirements,
Exactly.
liability, certificate of, anytime anybody rents the Smith Building, they should be providing a certificate of insurance, I believe is what it's called, with
Right.
with the county and Memorial Park as a secondary, whether they're selling alcohol sales or not, or selling alcohol or not. So I'll get you that information that I have gathered.
Okay. And two other issues while I'm here. If you could let us know by the next meeting whether the house is part of the contract for the superintendent or not.
Is the house part of the contract? Do you guys want to discuss that now?
I think the house, the way I feel, it could be.
Understood.
All depending on what it costs to make the house habitable. If it's a reasonable cost and we get, I mean, we haven't had talks about it yet, but I would say it's on the table at least.
Okay, so if we can come up with a reasonable number to make it habitable.
Well, I think
you
that a lot of
might-
things
you
have to
might
take place
be-
before that. For example, how is that going to adjust salaries? How is that compensation going to take place? What's the value of the house versus what she's currently being paid? Is she going to become a contract employee versus a regular employee? I mean, there's a whole lot of questions that take place in the 2 weeks, in my opinion.
I would agree with most of that, because there's going to be some adjustments somewhere because of whatever the value is of the house. And whether utilities are included or not, those type of things, those are all things we need to know as far as valuation and then what it's going to cost you guys to.
So basically what I hear is we're not going to use what's been done prior as a basis to start with this. We're going to renegotiate completely. Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't know that that's what, I mean, there's just a whole lot of conversation that has to be had that I don't think can be had in 2 weeks. If you're asking for something by the next meeting, that's the second
Yeah.
Wednesday of the month, or 3 weeks, if I'm counting, whatever. I don't know that all of that can be ironed out and discussed in a 2-week period. And you were asking that it all be decided
Well,
by the next meeting.
the big driver behind that is, okay, the budget's next year.
Sure.
So, you know, we didn't make the rules on the budget.
Sure.
Okay, so, you know, everybody's got to go faster now, I guess. If you can, that would be nice. And one other thing, we had a situation where a gentleman, they wanted to have a memorial for a gentleman at the Small Cannon, which is over on the south side. That is not accessible by any stretch of the imagination by ADA. And that cannon especially, and the track were given to the park back when it was a memorial before at least the Small Cannon was part of the hall brought back by General Bundy. So it's been a part of the park since day 2, probably, if you really want to look at it. So, can we bring it back to the park, or did it get given to the people that are leasing the ground?
I'd have to review that lease again, but
Or if they don't care, if we work it out, can we do whatever is mutually acceptable to the parties?
I
said,
agree. I
there's
think
a whole
that
lot
this
of-
is- yeah.
that lease, I'm sorry, I don't care what anybody else says, that's a bad lease, it sucks. And it needs to be redone, and so we can find some sort of happy middle ground somewhere, or it needs to be torn up and started over. So people can hate me for it, for saying it, I don't care at this point. It's a mess, it's been a fiasco from day one, and it needs to be fixed. So everybody needs to come to the table, we need to figure out how to fix it.
I agree with that, but there's this one
So I guess
particular
the
piece
answer is right now, I guess your answer, there needs to be more research done before anybody says, yes, we can move that.
As far as I'm concerned, everything, because it's still county property. At the end of the day, it
Yes,
still
it
belongs to
is.
the county.
That's-
Those
But,
monuments
yeah.
are still part of the park as far as I'm concerned. Whether the cost of moving them, relocating them, I'm not sure which is feasible or practical. I'd like to see something done to where it stays with the park, because it should.
Well, the moving the cannon and the track are not, I don't believe, particularly hard or expensive things to do. Now, you talking a monument now that's a different story, and I'm not advocating one way or the other on that. But those other 2 pieces can be done, I think, relatively easy. And they're not anywhere where anybody can get at them easily at all right now.
So what you're saying is if Expo agrees to move the cannon, if they don't have any problem with it, can you move the cannon? So-
That's basically what I'm asking, yeah.
Right, so it really wouldn't have much to do with the lease.
I would like for just, before anything is voted on tonight, my personal opinion is, or you can go ahead and make some motion, that we just do a little bit more research before anything is said, okay, let's just move it. That's my personal thought, but if
It's
you want to make a motion,
I didn't
you're
see
fine.
anything in the lease where it said what we could or couldn't do, or where the monuments or memorials or whatever stayed, went, how it was done. The only thing I heard was in a verbal conversation that I had was that they would be honored to take care of the memorials and stuff that was there.
Right.
So I don't know if there was anything really ever spelled out in who was supposed to take care of or was in charge of them with this lease. So since there was no time frame set on anything that was supposed to be done, there was never any deadline set on anything that needed to be done, it makes it very hard to determine who's actually responsible at this point. That's where I have a problem with the way this was all handled, and this was done way before any of us. So now we're trying to sort it out to figure out how this can be fixed to mutual satisfaction of everybody.
Well, if we have a mutual understanding with Expo and we bring it to you, would that help in that decision?
It sure wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
And do you have an idea of a spot for it in the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And it will be ADA accessible. Both. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bill, you have anything? Nope. Okay. Gabe, do you have anything except what we have here in a minute? Okay, so I see Henry County EMS that's not here. Okay. Last Friday, we received a resignation, or actually on Monday, we received a resignation letter from Nathan Dunn resigning his position as park board member. So we do need to advertise and put that out, that we are looking for someone who is interested in replacing Nathan as park board member. So we will get that out to the appropriate newspapers here soon. Next, so a year ago, roughly, the commissioners created an ARP committee consisting of the three commissioners, Ken Gray, Susan Hoon from the council, Bill Upchurch as treasurer, and Debbie Walker as auditor. Susan, a few months ago, Susan Hoon had stepped away from that committee, and I was asked to bring it up to replace her. Kyle Allen from the council has, and I'm saying I'm a lot, and I apologize for that, has expressed interest in sitting on that committee. Do I have a motion to appoint Kyle Allen to the ARP committee as representative of the county council?
I'll make a motion to appoint Kyle Allen to the ARP committee.
Do I have a second?
I don't have a problem with seconding, but I think some discussion. I'm not sure we need all these people on the ARP committee anymore, because we've pretty much, most of the money's been, if you ask any individual on there, has been designated. So, because we've all spent more than we'd ever get, and with some of the other things that's going on in the county, I'm starting to even question why we're going to continue to have ARP meetings.
So was that a second or not a second?
It doesn't matter at this point. Like I said, I think it's kind of futile, but if you want to put somebody else on the committee, I'll second it, but I'm not sure that it's...
I don't know how much longer this committee will actually be, because there's some, once we get to this point right here, I'm guessing that funding is going to go a lot to that. I have a motion by Ed Tarantino, second by Steve Dellinger. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. I'm guessing that the committee probably won't last much longer anyway. Okay, so we have a quote for a truck for weights and measures. Now, back a month or two ago, the ARP committee and the commissioners and the council appropriated $60,000 of ARP money to fund 2 vehicles, one for weights and measures and one for the building inspector. I don't know that we have appropriated enough, but Gabe, if you want to come down and talk about the vehicle and where you found it and the whys and wherefores of it and how this will work for your department.
Okay, so I've been looking for a
Do you need
vehicle.
a copy of it? Do you have yours? Do you have a copy?
What do you have?
The quote you gave me. I'll share with Steve. Yeah, it's the one for $43,000.
Okay, so I've been looking for a vehicle, and like Joe, had a huge problem finding a used vehicle that's in shape that we could use. Because the requirements that we need would be at least a 1 ton or a 3/4 ton. Couldn't find one. So I eventually found one at Kelly Chevrolet. Talked to Mark. It was a 2017 F-350, 32,000 miles. He wanted $40,000 for it. So he offered us a 2023 for $43,000. Initially, we wanted a utility bed for the slide-in unit, but the slide-in unit will fit in the regular bed.
Without having to add a utility bed.
Right, which would save probably $9,000. I'll sacrifice storage and space, but to save the money we don't need to spend, we don't need to do it. So that truck with the sliding unit would be great.
So the used truck, you would have to spend an additional 7 to 9, so it would have been anywhere from 47 to 49,000 for the used truck.
Yeah, and he wouldn't budge on the 40,000.
Okay, and the new truck is 43,000.
Yeah, and we don't need the utility bed.
And because I'm not a vehicle, I know how to drive one.
Yeah.
Steve, you want to talk about it or ask any questions? I'm not the person to ask questions on what a truck does or doesn't do. I don't know.
You said this takes care of all your storage issues and stuff, because that was the compromise between the utility bed and the slide-in.
Right, so
fits and
all the other counties have a utility bed. So I figured that's what we needed. We don't have the money all the other counties have. So I'm going to sacrifice storage on the back end. It's a crew cab, so we'll put all the important stuff up front and then put the sliding unit in a normal truck bed. So I'm going to sacrifice where I'm putting my cones at, where I'm putting my test measures. We'll have to figure that out. But other than that storage part, this will work.
And the slide-in, whenever that is approved to be purchased,
Right.
will fit. You know
Yeah.
for a fact it will
Right,
fit
yeah.
in this bed.
It's 77 inches. The truck is 84.
Okay.
So I mean, it has to hang off for all the hoses, stuff like that. So we're gonna have some space, not a lot, but we'll still have space for that. And that'll be like a spring. If we get the sliding unit, we have to wait till spring.
Well, and
Test fuel in the wintertime.
so if you, let's say you place this order tomorrow, when will the truck be here?
He told me 3 to 4 months.
3 to 4 months?
And then the sliding unit is also probably 4 months. So again, if we buy it now, that's winter. Don't test fuel, wait till spring.
So that roughly leaves $17,000 for the building inspector.
And I asked for him, I was like, can you give me an SUV for the building inspector? At least 17,000. My understanding of Tahoe's gonna be 23. He said, I don't even have them to sell you. This one
they don't.
is one of his last trucks he even has, and it's about to be sold. So it's one of those, he doesn't have any extra vehicles.
Okay.
But if we just got you a moped, it
Yeah.
would be a lot cheaper on the county.
As long as I've got a trailer with it, yeah.
We can get you a trailer.
Give me a trailer and a moped, we'll be good to go.
Can I ask a question as a art committee member?
Yes, you may.
Are we going to reappropriate more money for the building? Because that
I know.
doesn't leave them $20,000 to purchase a vehicle with.
We're probably
So-
going to have to.
That's my, I
Because
just want to
my
make sure
thought
we
when
think
we
about
did
that.
appropriate the original 60, my thought was I didn't think there was going to be enough for both.
I
But
think we were looking at more two used vehicles, I think, than we were a new one, but,
A used is just as much now.
oh, I know they're high.
Like I said, I mean, the 17 was the closest I could find. 30,000, great mileage, came from Hamilton County, wouldn't budge off the 40. So, I mean, there's just no finding them out there. And this one's brand new for 3,000 more. And that truck will outlast probably me. It's going to be a good truck.
Even if you did the used one, that's not going to leave enough for an SUV.
And my current one will have 100,000 next month, but there's no way it holds a sliding unit. And we're talking 3,000 or 4,000 pounds. That's a half ton. And again, we need more upfront space because we're buying new printer, new scale. We want that in a conditioned space. In the back of that truck is not where it should be.
Ed, questions?
No, only that we put the $60,000 up. If we spend 43, we'd have to do it at another meeting of the group that may never meet again. I
They're
guess.
meeting in September.
But the building inspector vehicle, does he carry a lot of equipment around?
No, he doesn't need a truck.
So he mainly just needs transportation?
He said that an SUV, and he talked to you about it also, Bill? An SUV. Yep, four-wheel drive. Yep. Yeah, he
Because
doesn't
that's the
need.
problem. Your current truck is not, right?
Four-wheel drive, no.
No, it doesn't get out of its own way. And
I was
I'm
like,
hearing
is
a
that,
lot of
to me,
weight.
was another thought process, was we let temporarily or until we figure something out,
Yeah.
Weights and Measures could have his old vehicle. Because right now, he has the old highway vehicles, what he's
Weights and
driving.
Measures could have what vehicle?
No, building
Oh,
inspector could
but it's
have
not, yeah.
his weights
I was
and
thinking the
measure.
same thing, but it's not a four-wheel
Yeah.
drive truck. Yeah, so, okay. Do I have a motion one way or the other?
Well, I mean, we're not gonna give him a moped, then I guess go ahead and approve purchase of that vehicle.
I'll second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0.
Thank you.
Also gave no, I'm kidding. I was going to tell him I'd sell him my Jeep, but I'm kidding. Okay, thank you. We have two quotes for the Justice Center from Piney. One is to remove and replace the faulty EF number 9 blower motor for restrooms on 3 floors for the east side of the building for $1,133. And then a leak check in the IT phone room, self-contained AC unit, recover refrigerant repair leak and charge with R22 refrigerant. So we have two quotes, one for $1,055 and one for $1,133 for repairs of the Justice Center. Do I have a motion to accept both of these quotes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, motion carries. Late this afternoon, we got a quote because the air conditioning units in the, it's not just in your office, it's in your office and the assessor. I'm not sure where all it affects.
I wasn't sure that it was the
Is
assessor's
it not
office.
the
I just
assessor?
know
Is it
that,
just- Is it just yours?
I was gonna say it's on this floor at that end of the building, there was 2 units that are, one is gone and the other one is on its way out.
Yeah, so Steve has worked with Jake's Plumbing most of the day today, along with Greg Brown, and we did get a quote to replace both of these at a total price of $16,100 for the units. With discounts, it comes in at $15,600 to replace both of these units.
And that is 2 furnaces and 2 air handler
Two
or air
furnaces
conditioning
and
units.
two air
At the
handlers.
same time, they're gonna do both of them, and they
guess
possibly
we can pay that out of the GO bond. Yeah, I
That's-
know. I told him that
It's
we'll
supposed,
take our
they
fan
will be
and bring
here
it.
at 10:30 in the morning
morning.
to put in portable units for the ladies on this floor so that no one is screaming at me. And they should have the other units Monday or Tuesday of next week if everything goes well.
Yeah. I told him they could have our fan. They did, he did. So do I have a motion to accept the Jake's quote to replace the 2 air conditioner heating units for $15,600?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Next, we have an interlocal agreement between the county and Middletown to purchase salt this winter. This interlocal agreement is entered into by and between Henry County, acting through its Board of Commissioners, and Middletown Political Subdivision, the purchaser. Joel, do I need to read the whole agreement? It's just an agreement that they will purchase salt from the county, an MOU. Do you want me to read the entire agreement?
No, you don't need to read it. It's the one we've done, I think, with several other either
Several other
schools
times, yeah.
or Yeah, or towns, and basically it's if we have salt or sand available and they want it, we will sell it to them at cost.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the interlocal agreement to purchase salt and sand with the town of Middletown?
Can I ask a question first?
Yes, you may.
Joe, that does not affect anything that you have on hand, right? Okay.
I will, hang on one second. Purchasers shall contact Henry County Highway Engineer as they designate to determine if Henry County has salt or sand available for purchase. Only if you have it available for purchase.
I'll say it says availability. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't.
Purchasers shall inform Henry County of the quantity of salt or sand purchaser desires to purchase and shall confirm with the highway superintendent that the desired quantity is available. After determining that Henry County has available quantity of salt or sand, purchasers shall make agreements to collect the salt or sand from Henry County Highway Garage, 202 West County Road 50 North, Newcastle, during its normal hours of operation. So they will contact you and you will tell them if any is available. If so, if not, they don't get any.
That's why I wanted to make sure that we have enough that you're okay with this.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Make a motion to accept it.
Second.
motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. So this is a quote to increase the active internet from 250 by 250 to 500 by 500. It will increase, actually it goes to $1,100 from $850 a month to $1,100. We realize that when there's training and stuff going on that it maxes out the service. So Nine Star has quoted us $1,100 a month from $850 to increase or double our speed. Do I have a motion to accept that contract? Or are there questions?
I take it in your conversation with them that's the best deal we can get?
Yeah. Well, no, we can pay for whatever we want to, but right now, taking it up to 500 by 500. And actually, they did give us a couple weeks of at that service as a test, and it seemed to have worked.
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Okay, so new business. See, we've gone through the Humana already. So it has been suggested several times, and we just haven't done it, that the commissioners begin having just once a month a work session. So I added it to the new business. I would suggest if we do a work session, we do it on a day that we are having already having one of our meetings, whether it be an hour before the meeting or the morning of the meeting. So department heads, if they have, or other people can come in and just talk to us. I know the previous commissioners had one once a month, and so I was bringing this forward to put on the itinerary to discuss.
I don't have any problem with having work sessions.
Steve,
So-
do you have any discussion, thoughts?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts.
I
Some of
know.
them I shouldn't repeat, but
Thoughts about work sessions?
I say a trial basis. I don't know how much participation we're going to have. So if we do
Yeah.
it for now and
Yeah.
see how it plays
We can
out, I
always
guess.
take it away. We can always stop. Okay, so do I have a motion for the, do we want to do it on the first Wednesday of, the second Wednesday of the month, which would be our first meeting of the month, or the fourth Wednesday of the month? Any preference?
Well, I
Or
guess
any
it-
other day of the week? I guess it doesn't have to be on the days we have
I
meetings.
guess it depends on what time you're having it on the first one, because I have drainage board.
Oh, yeah, the first meeting, the first meeting of we have several meetings on the first, so we can do it, you want to do it the fourth?
That would
The
probably
fourth
be
Wednesday
easier.
of the month. Our meetings are at 6 o'clock, say at 3 o'clock. Ed? 3 o'clock? Are you okay with 3 o'clock on the fourth Wednesday?
Yes, I'm fine.
So you want to make them, do I have a motion to have a commissioners' work session the fourth Wednesday of each month until further notice at 3 o'clock p.m., having the auditor do a notice?
Is it okay if we just decide to have a work session on the fourth Wednesday and we leave the time flexible?
No, because we have to advertise.
Do we have to advertise every time, or do we just have to
No,
advertise once?
Just do it once, at once.
Then I'll make a motion. Has the motion been made?
No.
I'll make a motion that we have a work session on the fourth Wednesdays at 3 o'clock.
Second.
Motion by Ed Tarantino, second by Steve Delliner. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries 3-0. And then Debbie, you want to do that notice? It'll start in September. So we are down to, oh, that's right. That is on here, but we'll move it up to now. So the fourth Wednesday, so I guess it won't start in September. The fourth Wednesday of September, which is our meeting, our second meeting of the month, we will all be at the AIC conference. So we need to move that meeting because we will not be here, if I can get my calendar. So do we want to do it on the 17th or the 31st? Oh, wait, oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong month, I apologize. Thank you. The 14th or the 14th is our first meeting, and the 28th is our second meeting, so, yeah, September, I was in August. So do we want to do it on the 21st or the, oh, wait. No, we're not. No, we're not. Never mind, we are wrong. I did too. So never mind, we don't. It's the 2nd and the 4th, so it's the 14th and the 28th. Ignore that entire conversation. All of us had said we're going to be gone. Never mind, ignore me.
It's my fault. I was limited.
I know, yeah, sorry.
So if I ignore you now, is that any different than any other time?
No, it's not.
All right.
You can just continue to do so. We do need to, next is DLZ building assessment. So part of the ARP funding, we paid DLZ to do a facility assessment for this building, the Justice Center, and what we refer to as the Masonic Building, and they have delivered that. And I would like to schedule, and we can do it at that work session, or another work session or a special meeting for DLZ to come in, for us to discuss and for DLZ to come and present. I think having it at one of our regular meetings, it may take quite a while for them to go through it. Thoughts?
Yeah, I would prefer that we just have a special meeting. If it has to be a public meeting, we just pick another day.
Okay.
And time, so that we'll have plenty of time to ask questions.
Okay, when would you guys like to have that meeting? Okay. Okay, so we'll set that meeting. We'll look at the planner and set that meeting. I would say probably within the next couple weeks, we should probably do that. But we'll schedule the meeting for that. Okay. Next is the sheriff's transfer of vehicles. Jay, do you want to talk about that?
Thank you. This request pertains to
reimbursement for affordable towing here in Newcastle, Indiana. They did some work for us as we moved vehicles from the location we had them stored at, adjacent to the old jail. And as we were cleaning up that lot and taking care of some of our older vehicles that are set aside for a county auction, we had to get those vehicles moved. Vast majority of them are inoperational, so they towed those for us. I believe, if I recall right, it was 7 vehicles they towed. And they requested, rather than, as they were towing the vehicles, there was a 2013 Dodge Charger that's not been in operation for a couple of years, and Affordable Towing was interested in that in lieu of a cash payment for their services. And checking with Joe Harvey, there is state statute provision to be able to do that and eliminate that older county property. And I would just request that the 3 of you approve that transfer of property to Affordable Towing at this time.
Okay. Joel, do you have any more to add to that?
No, given that the vehicle is in an inoperable condition and under the threshold value for having to open it up for bids, I think you're fine to transfer it in exchange for the towing service.
Okay. Any questions?
Nope. I just have a comment. I want to thank you and Rick for facilitating getting all those vehicles off of that lot. The lot's been cleaned up and stripes have been painted on it, and it looks really nice. And I'm very grateful that was happened in the manner that it did.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to transfer title of this vehicle, this 2013 Dodge Charger, to Affordable Towing?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Steve Dellinger, second by Ed Tarantino. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 3-0. Okay, discussion of the EMS building and the Annex Building. So the EMS building is still open up for bid until the end of business, August the 29th. Then at the, I don't know if we're going to have a special meeting or we're just going to wait till the next meeting. We haven't actually discussed that, when we will be opening those bids. Those bids are open bids. They're not sealed bids. So if somebody else comes in and bids, you guys can come in and keep checking and see and change your bid. And Joel, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure that that's how we went with it, that they were not sealed bids.
Correct. Yeah. Each person that makes an offer, we can notify the other offeror, and they will have an opportunity to increase their bid if they'd like.
Okay. So that is ongoing until the 29th. I know that the way this was planned out, that should even a bid come in that's not acceptable, the next step, not saying that that's going to happen, but the next step also, we could bring in a realtor if for some reason there would be no acceptable bids. So August the 29th, and then we will set either the next commissioners meeting, more than likely, to discuss those bids. The Annex Building, we are moving forward with the close. We received the paperwork back, I believe, from the title company this week. I'm not sure, Joel, you may want to speak to that about the Annex Building, when close potentially will happen.
Sure. Yeah. We got the draft settlement statement from the title company. So basically, we just need to get a date arranged with the buyer, and we're ready to close. So it could happen as soon as next week, probably.
Okay, good. Yay. I'm glad. And then we have 90 days once we close to move everything out of that building, which Commissioner Dellinger is working with the departments that have stuff in that building in putting together a plan. So, yay, the Annex Building will be officially off of the county property here in the next few weeks. So if you hear, yes, it is still on the endangered buildings list. We didn't close before they had to make a decision to keep it on the endangered properties list, which is something we don't control. So it is still on the endangered properties list, but it is not endangered. It is moving forward. 2 things left. State Board of Accounts audit. We had the exit interview this week. I will say it all went very well, and they were very complimentary of the treasurer's office and the auditor's office in how expedient they worked with them to get the information that they needed. And as a matter of fact, I think it went a couple weeks quicker than what they had anticipated going. So thank you to Debbie and your staff and Bill and your staff for all the hard work that you did to make this audit go smooth.
And we also saved the county about between $7,000 and $8,000
Yes.
on this audit.
Saved the county about $7,000 to $8,000 for being expedient. So thank you very much. Last thing, I have two things. The opioid settlement, we have been notified that the county is getting $887,439 and some change in unrestricted funds, and $2,070,691 and some change in restricted funds. However, we still don't know the parameters or the requirements in order to be able to allocate this money or use this funds. So we're going to be taking our time in determining what we need to do and how we need to move forward with that. And I think that's it. Anything from the public? Have I forgotten anybody? Anything from anybody in the public? If not, with that, did I skip one? What did I skip? Oh, I didn't see that one. Yep, sorry. ARP resolution. I didn't see that one. Thank you for. So this is the ARP resolution 2022-08-24018. Sorry, I didn't even see that one. This is an ARP resolution. And the Exhibit A, the only thing that was added in Exhibit A is the sum of $150,000 to support local food banks by paying $10,000 to each of the following food banks operating in Henry County: Shirley United Methodist Church, Morelands Friends Church, Heaven's Bread Basket in Louisville, Nicetown Community Food Pantry, Shepherd's Door Food Pantry in Newcastle, Westminster Community Center, Newcastle, Christian Love Center, Newcastle, Salvation Army, Newcastle, God's Grain Bin, Newcastle, Heart to Hand Food Pantry, South Memorial Drive Church of God in Newcastle, Second Harvest Food Bank, First Baptist Church in Newcastle, Crossroads Church, Newcastle, Blue River Community Harvest, First Bible Free Will Baptist Church in Newcastle, and Blunsville Firemen's Association. The ARP committee did recommend $10,000 to each food pantry. As we know, COVID hit them pretty hard as far as being able to gain donations. And with the inflation and economy, the dollar doesn't go very far. The funds paid to each of the above organizations shall be utilized solely to support the food bank operation of each organization above. Do I have a motion or discussion?
I have issues with this. I always have. I'd like to table it for now. And the reasons why is I'm not sure it's the government's responsibility to fund all the food banks, and then where do we draw the line? I think we're opening up a can of worms, and I think there needs to be a little more guidance on how we distribute this money. So I would like to make a motion to table it for now.
Yeah, I also think that we would need to get in contact and talk with these different food banks. I'm not sure that they all need the same amount. I'm not sure that I think we're being a little hasty, so I will second the motion to table this until a later date.
Motion by Steve Dellinger to table, second by Ed Tarantino to table. I will say I disagree wholeheartedly with tabling and questioning whether or not the food pantries need any money, but that's my personal opinion. So motion by Steve, second by Ed. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, aye. Motion carries 2-1. Yes, you may.
Patty Broyles. I do have a question on the food bank. Are they all 501c3s? They can go file for grants through our Henry County Community Foundation. Have we checked in, instead of using ARP money, have we checked into what other counties are doing? I know there is a clearinghouse in Madison, Indiana, that at the bottom of the clearinghouse, I think 15 churches went together for a food bank, and it is very well supported. Something like this would be great in Henry County. Just instead of ARP money, we need a lot of things in this county. This county has a lot of buildings that has not been maintained, and I know you're looking on selling them, but
We've only got one other building up, 2 other buildings up for sale.
they need maintained.
Sure.
There's a garage behind them, EMS, those garages there, they need maintained. And you guys are on the right track. You got rid of the parking lot. And I think this money could go through there to help our downtown. Thank you.
I would also like to see someone form some type of board that has all the food banks together in some sort of organization, because food banks crop up and then they go away. I mean, we had one out in Caddis at actually my church, and not very many people were coming. They decided, they ran it for several years. People stopped coming, and they decided weren't enough people coming, they closed it up. If the need grows again, I'm sure we'll open it up again, but I think it would be good if we had somebody organize all the food banks within the county, at least to the point. The other thing that would help with, I remember when I worked at a food bank for a while, at the end of the night, everything we hadn't given away that was perishable, all the people working there just took it home because they didn't know what else to do with it, and it would have been bad by the next time the food bank was open. If they were all coordinated, somebody might be able to give that stuff away the next day.
Well, I do know at Second Harvest, when I volunteered at Second Harvest, I also took boxes, but I didn't take boxes for me. I took boxes back to Strawn and gave them out. So, just as a side note.
Right, but if
Go
it
ahead,
was
Angela.
coordinated, then everyone
Did the ARP
could do it.
committee meet in August? I thought those meetings were
Not in August. This was done back in
that was
July.
back in July.
Yeah, this was done. This was recommended back in June or July.
This is me, just as a citizen of Indiana, and looking at that ARP fund and the guidelines that came down through the federal government. And as a nurse, there was nothing more insulting to me as a healthcare professional after the pandemic when the federal government said, put a sewer in, fix a road after the pandemic. Ed, you and I have had conversations about what was the government thinking. We knew what was going to happen. They were giving all this money out hand over fist. Somebody's got to pay it back. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so it put a huge responsibility on your shoulders and the shoulders of every other commissioner, across the United States and down to city government. But all I'm asking is that we stop and think. The reason that money became made available was because of the hardships that the pandemic brought on. And I'm not, I do understand, Steve, because it is no different than the essential worker pay, and you know how that turned out for us.
This is my other fear.
I know. And we've had the discussion, and I have come, backing money being given to some nonprofits. But truly, there has to be a correlation to a need that was caused by the 2 years of the pandemic. So, for example, Safe at Home, you know, they have demonstrated to us that the number of domestic violence cases have doubled. We can look, right, Rick, that our number of opioid deaths and drug overdose deaths have increased. And so, as a healthcare professional, and food and stability and rent, you know, running water, electricity, all of that comes into play, your basic needs. But if we're getting down to the point where, you know, we do have money at the end, you know, my only ask is that we truly sit down and look, you know, is the person that we're giving the money to dealing with a true aftermath of something that was caused by the pandemic that was out of all of our control. You know, and I agree that there's lots of different things that we can do, you know, coming together as food banks, all of that makes great sense. But I don't envy your position and having to make that decision. But please keep in mind that I would rather, and don't get me wrong, I like to drive on roads that are fixed. I get that. And that was the federal government's call. That was not a healthcare worker's call, because all of that money, I could spend it 5 times over in things that I feel like should have been done with it across the nation. But please, in Henry County, can we make sure that it goes to something that is a direct cause of the pandemic?
I agree.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. With that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you, guys.